Hi, my lovelies. So I'm back this week to talk about none other but my KCONLA 2024 experience, and most importantly, my DREAMSTAGE experience and how I got to dance with enhypen. So, I've kind of compiled a list of things that I wanted to talk about and things that I've just gotten a lot of questions about regarding the audition process, both the online and the live in-person one, and then just kind of how the rehearsal was and just like the overall experience. And also I want to address some more controversial things towards the end of the video, but let's get into it. So first I'm gonna talk about how it all began, which was when KCON had announced the DREAMSTAGE lineup. So me and my friends, we all were just like tracking both their Twitter and their Instagram pages, and we were just waiting. The minute that enhypen got announced for the actual lineup, we were like, okay, now it's time to wait for this DREAMSTAGE, because all of us, like, that is our number one dream, is to dance with enhypen. So we waited until, you know, they dropped it, and from then on they had given us a couple of instructions. They had obviously announced that the song was going to be Sweet Venom, but that was about a week after they said who it was going to be. So when they announced that it was going to be enhypen, Zico, and Taemin, then about like maybe not even a week, probably a couple of days to a week, then that's when they had announced the song choices. And from then on the post where it had the song choice, it told us like how you would be able to apply. However, the application process wasn't opened until July 12th, which was about 2 weeks prior to the actual DREAMSTAGE taking place. With that being said, funny enough, obviously I'm in a cover dance group that I've mentioned like multiple times on my channel, and we already know Sweet Venom. So the chorus was already learned, so that was really good. The only thing that wasn't really learned was the dance break. And at this point, we didn't know if the dance break was going to be a part of the timestamps that we had to learn in order to audition. So we went ahead and like we practiced it. If I have any videos, I'll probably just plug them in after I finish talking about it. But yeah, we learned everything that we were like, this probably would give DREAMSTAGE. As we all know now, it was not a part of the timestamps. It literally skipped right over the dance break. So it was kind of unfortunate because I really thought that it would have been cool to do the dance break with them. But I think that considering everyone's skill level for Engenes, you know, to make it more accessible, I think that's why they had cut it out. And once they dropped the timestamps on the 12th, right from then on, I filmed my video, and you can choose to either send it to their email, you can either post it on any social media platform, whether that be Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube. You can post it on any one of those platforms, and then when you submit the application form, you just link both your SNS profile and the actual video link so that they can review it. And then you have to sign consent forms. If you are a minor, you do have to have a parent or guardian sign off for you. And yeah, that's like how the audition process went for me. It was like pretty straightforward. There wasn't really, I didn't have any issues following along with the instructions because they posted everything on all of the platforms. It was very comprehensive and very user-friendly, thankfully. So For people like me, where this is your first DreamStage audition, it was very easy to understand what they wanted. And once I submitted mine, it's kind of just the waiting game until after the 21st, which is when the application had closed.
Venom.
And at this point, you just wait for an email. They don't send emails to people that didn't make it. They only send emails to people that passed the audition, the online portion of it, and then they give you more details about what they might need from you at the day of the in-person audition at KCON. So I received mine the Tuesday after the 21st, and this year they've really cut down on a lot of the applications that they processed and reviewed and passed. And I'm gonna get into that more towards the end of the video about the controversy behind that, because a lot of people talked about it, because it was a really huge shock to a lot of people, and it really it kind of ruined a lot of people's experiences, unfortunately. People that I know personally, and just people that I've seen online talk about the DreamStage auditions for this year. I'll talk about that later. But as for just like how I auditioned, that's just it. And then I received my application email where it was like, you passed the online audition. We need your like original video. Like, apparently they need to verify that you are who you are, not only by your ID, but they need to see your submission video. And then you just wait until the day of the audition. So that's kind of like part one, the online audition portion. Now we move on to the next portion, which is the live in-person audition. So all of the auditions for this year were very early in the morning, and check-in started at 8. About a day before this, you received another email saying that they, instead of a ticket, they wanted to see the original email of acceptance to let you in, which ultimately meant that you didn't need to have an actual concert or convention ticket like previous years to participate, which would have been really nice if they told us this so that we didn't have to pay for a ticket in advance. But you know, is what it is. But you went to the convention center, and there were people that were waiting for you to like lead you to the check-in station, which was in Hall K, and you essentially just gave them all the information that they asked for in the very first email, which was the original video, ID, and also an additional in like physical form on paper, your participant consent form. You gave that to them, and then they gave you a number. This year they gave numbers based off of alphabetical order for your first name, not last name, but first name. So I was number 46, which that's like my number now. Like, that's my lucky number. So I'm number 46. and they like line you up, you're talking to people around you. I met a lot of cool people and a lot of Engenes, of course, and we were just kind of hyping each other up for this audition. It takes a lot to get to this point, so you're kind of just really, really hoping that you don't get cut, because it really sucks to get that far and then be eliminated on the day of the actual performance, when you're looking forward to so many things. So everyone is pretty nervous at this point. My anxiety was through the roof. I had auditioned with 2 other friends of mine, and we were just waiting. And then they opened the doors at 9. They filed us into the KCON stage area because that's where auditions took place this year. And they played the audition audio for about 30 minutes. Like, they were just playing it and playing it and playing it until the preliminary rounds had started. So, I had obviously made friends with the people in my row. The first round of auditions was 10 people. So I auditioned with 40 through 49. And then some people didn't show up, so like sometimes the numbers were a bit skewed because we didn't have all of the people that were there, which was 120. So people are going up, and the judges were there. There were 2 nice young ladies that were choreographers and dancers to evaluate us. And you go up there, they play the music, and literally I did not expect them to like be eliminating so fast. I thought they would take like time to deliberate, but they were making choices so fast. As soon as you finished the dance, maybe 5 seconds passed and they had already decided who was going to move to the second round. So that was like really nerve-wracking. If you're not used to auditioning, I feel like that is something that you have to prepare yourself for if you do want to do DreamStage and you make it to the live on-site audition. It is absolutely brutal. They'll call the numbers that they want to go to the next round, and then they're like, get off stage and wait until the next round. And if you didn't make it, they put you on the other side of the barricades where we're all kept, and they have to wait there until the results are, announced. And when I went up with 40 through 49, and they thankfully called my number to go to the second round. I'm gonna put my first round audition up here. So, I did that and called my number. I go back down the stairs, and we go back into our lines with the people that were accepted to go to the second round, and that just keeps happening until everyone goes. For the second round, they don't eliminate you on stage, because the next round, if you make it, you're performing with enhypen, right? So you dance, and then you get off the stage, and then you wait for them to announce all of the people at once that made it. So for the second round, it's 5 people at a time. So obviously, like, you really have to dance your butt off. I danced next to some like really amazing dancers. I was so nervous. And I'm pretty sure 4 out of the 5 of us, we all made it, which was like really crazy. So I'll put my second round audition. I did like a lot better the second time because I was just so nervous. I was like, I have to put my back into this, because if I don't, they about to eliminate me. So I did my second round audition, and then you wait. They left, the judges left, and they were deliberating the final 40 that were going to make it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
a couple of us were kind of like, we don't know how many people they're going to accept, because for the previous day for Timming, they had 36 people. So we were like, we don't know if they were going to do less or more, because enhypen is 7 people. So I don't know if that like went into account on how many people can be on stage at once. But ultimately they chose 40. And then the judges came out, they read off all of the numbers that made it. And unfortunately, I was the only person in my friend group to make it. And that was extremely devastating, because we had worked so hard to get to this point together. And we're all like hardcore engenes. And, you know, that's like what you are there for, to make it with your friends. And, you know, all of my friends were super supportive of me making it. They even filmed my fan cams, which I'll show like later, of like the actual performance. But yeah, you go up on stage after they announce you with everybody that made it, and you take a photo. And right after that, they lead you away, and they're like, okay, you have this much time to eat, and when you come back, it's rehearsal time until showtime. I had so many concerns about this part, because online so many people were like, you don't get food, you don't get like water, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like I have low blood sugar, so like I need to eat, and I have a high metabolism, so like those things put together, I was like, I don't know if I'll actually survive like 8 to 10 hours of pure rehearsal, because at this point it's only 11 a.m. barely, it's like 10:50. So I can't like dance for that long. But yeah, so I met this wonderful girl. She's one of my Twitter mutuals actually. And we went to go get something to eat. They gave us 2 hours, which was quite a lot of time. We went to the food trucks and we ate. We had kimbap. I had the bulgogi kimbap, and then she had the vegan jackfruit kimbap, and it was pretty good. And then we had boba, and then we came up. I met with my friends again who were at the Samsung booth waiting for enhypen to drop by, and it was rehearsal time at this point. So that kind of like concludes the in-person audition, and now it's time for like rehearsal / pre-show stuff, which is when it gets so crazy. But I digress. We move on to the next section. All right, so when they gathered everybody after lunch, we went to like this area that was curtained off, and that's where our little practice area was. And we sat down all of our stuff, and they were like, okay, we already have your positions made. Now this was another thing that I was not expecting, because everyone said that you would get another chance to dance so that they could place you on stage. That was not given. They had essentially like randomized or whatever, like the positions after we did the in-person audition, and we didn't get much of a say. At this point, I didn't really care, because you're dancing on stage with enhypen. I know some people were like a bit upset if they were like placed in the back or whatnot. I was like center of the stage, like middle. I was like center. So, you know, it was what it was at that point. I wasn't really complaining. It was all a dream to begin with. I was very grateful for the opportunity. So I was like, okay, I'm still dancing with enhypen. Like, what more could I ask for at that point? But yeah, so they showed us like a chart where we were supposed to stand based off of our number, and then we started rehearsing. Right off the bat, we started rehearsing, but there was a water machine, and they gave us bathroom breaks throughout, so that was really good. And we practiced for a couple of hours until they were like, it's time to rehearse with enhypen. So my mind starts literally blowing up. Like, brain cells are taking dives off of my eardrums. Like, I did not know where I was at one point, because I was like, oh my gosh, of course we would have to rehearse with enhypen, but like now that it's actually happening, I'm terrified. And this is coming from a person that's seen them at Send Off. There's like, I've seen them at Send Off twice, and I've seen them in concert essentially every time they've been in the States. I have seen them at least once. And it never gets easier. So here I am. We're walking to crypto.com arena, which is where M Countdown stage is going to happen. And we are running into idols left and right. I did not expect to see so many people that were just like walking out and about. Like, I was starstruck. We saw, this is not in like order, but I'm just gonna list off the people that we saw. We saw P1, we saw Bonedo, we saw God, we saw Hyolyn, we saw Cat's Eye, we saw TWS, we saw Miai, we saw Jo Yuri, we saw essentially everyone that was there for day 2 we saw. And all of them, we also saw Somi because she was the MC for that day as well. And we saw Park Myung. Visuals all over the place. I was like, like, this is insane. And shout out to P1, Bonedo, Miai, specifically, excluding enhypen because I'm going to talk about that later. They were so nice. Oh, and Cat's Eye as well. Like, when they saw us, they were like cheering us on and wishing us luck. And Manon from Cat's Eye literally hugged my friend on the spot because she was like starstruck by her. Who does that unless you're a genuine human being? It was like such a wholesome thing to witness when people have like such mixed experiences with people that they admire. Like, I really can't say I had a bad experience meeting these people. Like, what? And they were so good looking, so nice. I was, oh my gosh, literally felt like I was dreaming. So this is all happening when we're waiting for enhypen to like get on stage and do their sound check so that we can rehearse with them. And this is when their set list gets low-key exposed to us because they're performing the songs. Now I can obviously say it because it's in the past. But when we heard Paranormal start, tell me why I started to levitate. Tell me why I was clutching my pearls. I was not prepared. I was not prepared for this at all. Anyways, that's when they start escorting us into the arena, like, space. Was during Paranormal. So they're literally in their practice clothes. They're not in their performance clothes. They're wearing like sweats and stuff. And we're like walking around the stage, going to the side stairs of the stage. And they are singing Paranormal. Also, I need to say this, and I can't emphasize this enough. Their mics are on. Enhypen does not lip sync. I know people talk about, oh, sometimes this member, no. They were singing non-stop. You could hear them. They're so stable. They're so talented. That being said, moving on. We're walking around and all of us are looking up like, oh my god. Sunghoon and Jungwon, sleeveless, wearing muscle tanks. I almost passed out. I was like, I wanted to disappear. I was like, I can't act normal. Act normal how? Act normal how? And they're like looking down at us, still performing, like going around the stage as we're trying to get to the stairs. And I look up and I'm like singing the lyrics to Paranormal, and he's like center front stage. And I look up and I'm like singing, and he starts singing to me too. And I'm like, ah! Literally, I was freaking out. There was no doubt about it. I was still like processing it, but we were waiting by the stage and they started getting off the stage, and my brain starts to go, because I was told, oh yeah, they're gonna like have you guys practice on stage with them once and then you're gonna leave. That's not what happened. In fact, we went on stage and they had gotten off stage and they were taking a break. They were drinking water, they were blotting their sweat, and they were watching us from the side as we got placed on stage. When I say that I almost jumped off the stage head first, because I look to my side and I'm making eye contact with Jungwon and Heesung and Jay and all of them, and they're just like so happy to see ENGENE on this stage, and they were like giving us thumbs up. At one point, Jake and Jungwon were laughing at me because the producer that was placing us on stage, he was like telling us to get off the stage but also on. So I was like flipping around, and then I looked to my side and they're laughing, and I'm like, you're laughing at my struggle. Good to know. And it was a lot. But once they placed us on stage, we practiced, and then they brought them on stage and we practiced with them. And then we practiced taking the photo with them, and then they were like, okay, leave. So then we got off the stage, and then enhypen left, but then they were like, actually, you guys need to get on stage again. You guys were not in sync, which was humbling. So then we got back on stage, and then we practiced again, and then we walked back to the convention center for another break, because the next time we go back, it's gonna be Showtime. It's gonna be a done deal. So also one thing that I need to really emphasize is that you're not allowed to take your phone into the rehearsal area. Like, they tell you leave all of your stuff. Like, the only things you're allowed to bring with you is yourself. Other than that, you will get kicked out if they catch you with anything. So just like people were patting themselves down just to make sure that they aren't bringing like accidentally their phone in their pocket, because it was that serious. And that was that. So then we took another bathroom break, and then it was time to head back to crypto.com to perform. All right. And when we go back to crypto.com, we're running into some more people that are in their performance outfits, because the concert is happening at this point. That is the number one thing that, you know, if you really want to see the concert, I don't recommend doing DreamStage, because you do end up missing the whole entire thing up until DreamStage. And then if you have a ticket, then you can go afterwards. But everything prior to DreamStage you are missing, because you are rehearsing and getting ready to go on stage to perform. For me personally, I was just so caught up in trying to dance with enhypen. I really did not care about missing the concert. I've seen them in concert so many times, and I'm prepared to see them during their next tour where they're performing all of their Romance Untold songs. So for me, it was not a priority to be there, but you just have to make that personal choice for yourself. As for that, it's just kind of a bit unfortunate. They're very strict about that, and you can't, like, one thing, if you're in a dance crew and you're competing in the relay, people were not allowed to do both. People had members missing in their performances because they were in DreamStage, and that is another really unfortunate thing. You have to prioritize DreamStage as first. And that is something that I heard is pretty new for this year because they were pretty lenient in the previous years. But this year they're like, you don't get to do anything else but rehearse and do DreamStage. And that is that. If that's an experience that you're okay with because you just really want to dance with that group or that soloist, then I highly recommend. But if not, just go to the concert, honestly, and enjoy your time at the convention. There's so much to do. Anyways, after we sat backstage, we then started going into the arena. They're preparing for us, and it was like so surreal to have my friends cheering me on. I ran into them at barricade because I did not even know that they were going to be there on like that close to see me, but I'll show in like the following video that they literally could see me and I could see them. It was such a nice, inspiring, movie-like moment. Really.
Thank you very much. Just second! Yes! Oh my
So then we go up on stage and you perform. I saw myself on the VCR, and that was pretty cool. I saw my friends on the VCR, and that's like embedded in history. And my friend got the ending fairy. She slayed. And after that, we took the photo with Enha, and it was time to dip, and they made us run. I mean, we were sprinting out of the arena because apparently we took too long, which I'll get into later. But it was a whole ordeal, and it was over in a flash. Like, in the moment you think things are like kind of progressing gradually, and then the performance is done and you're like, oh my god, I just did that. And it was live broadcasted to millions of people. That's crazy. But definitely a highlight of my life, dancing with not just any group, but my alt of all alts alongside them. As a dancer and as a performer, like, that really solidified for me, like, I need to be confident in my skills and be proud of what I've done thus far, because obviously it led me to this very moment. And that brings me to the next section, which is the controversy surrounding DreamStage this year. I'm not gonna get too much, like, I don't want to get too excited or overly, like, frustrated about the situation, but I will say this. I know a lot of people were frustrated about who got the emails and who didn't. A lot of people assumed it was lottery. I completely disagree, and here's why. All the previous years, they had pretty much accepted 90% of online auditions, and then all of the cuts were made in person, which you could say like the same thing in the sense that, like, oh, those were random. It really isn't. They are reviewing and they are processing your audition video. At the end of the day, they are looking for specific people. I can't say what they're really looking for. I was surprised that I even got accepted when I heard that literally no one got an email. Like, you start to second guess yourself a bit, especially when people are saying you don't deserve that email, or when they're saying that you were just lucky. versus like they appreciated your video and your talent, and that's what got you there up until that point. To all my dream stagers, I'd say just like be really proud of yourself and where you got to up to that moment. Don't allow the naysayers to say that you didn't deserve it, because you did. And that's that. And then on to the next part, which was certain people that I felt like were a bit disconnected from enhypen, in the sense that like they're kind of just there for dream stage and not to dance with enhypen, if that makes sense. And to each their own, but genuinely so many engenes could have gotten the opportunity. There were a few people that had even admitted that up until like their interactions with enhypen that day, that they weren't really stans. And that's kind of unfortunate, because I knew so many talented engene dancers that would have literally done anything to be given the opportunity, and here we were. And that was a bit of a bummer, I'm not gonna lie. Some people kind of did push themselves onto the boys a little bit. I'm not, you know, pointing fingers at anybody. It's just that, you know, we were given like very specific instructions about how to interact with any of the idols that we encountered, and I feel like certain boundaries were crossed between fan and idol at certain points, where certain physical interactions might have been forced. Not all of them, because some of the members did initiate, but some of them were not initiated and they were coerced, I guess you could say. And I would hate to be, you know, on the other end of that and feel like you're obligated to do certain things that you don't want to do. That's that. And I'm really not going to go much into more detail than that, unless you guys want, like, ask in the comments for me to. But really, I don't want any problems. I don't want any issues with anybody. I'm just like saying off the cuff my real-time reactions to certain things that occurred. These are just off-the-cuff reactions and real-time thoughts about things that happened. I don't have any ill will or malice towards anybody. These are just my personal feelings, and you can agree, disagree, but these are just my opinions on certain things that happened. But overall, highlight of my life for sure, and I love enhypen. And yeah, that's my dream stage experience. And let me know if you guys want anything else for me to post. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.